Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you like the content, hit the subscribe button, leave a like down below. It's been a while since I made a video on this channel. It's mainly because Ark Survival Ascended had so many issues with it, and they still haven't 100% fixed it. I don't think it'll ever get fixed. And I've been focusing on my wrestling channel. But with the release of Power World on the PlayStation 5, I figured it was time to come back. So not in like a major capacity, but I'm just gonna test the waters with this and see if you guys want Power World content. So this is Power World on the PlayStation 5. I've already started my file. I want to show you guys a really good setup for your world here. So you can go to change world settings, and you can do this when you first create your world also. So change world settings. You can turn multiplayer on or off. I have it set to custom here. And then you can come in here, custom settings. And since you're probably new to Power World, if you're only a PlayStation player, there's a few things here that'll make it a little easier for you. So you can turn up the experience rate as high as you want if you want to max out right away. It's just like Ark. You have full control over how the game plays. It has a default thing where it's like easy mode, normal mode, and all that stuff. There's things in here where you can turn off dropping items upon death, or if you want more of a challenge, you can have it drop all your items, your gear, and your pals, pretty much like Ark if you really want a true hardcore experience. But what's really cool is it gives you full control over all the little stats and damages, how much you can gather and all that kind of stuff, just like Ark. And then it's got the death penalty. That's what I was talking about. I have no drops because I'm treating this more of like Pokemon where you can build versus an Ark clone. But it's essentially Ark and Pokemon if they did the Fusion Ha thing from Dragon Ball Z. And then you got guilds. And then the number one thing I would turn off if you're only going to play this offline single player is raids. Now, I played this when it came out on the Xbox, and my base would get raided like every 10-15 minutes if I was in it. And the raids got more and more difficult even though I hadn't leveled up that much. So hopefully they flush that out. But if you want to learn the game and you want to have fun just relaxing in single player mode, I would turn this off immediately. Raids are good for high level players or players that play with other people, because then you have friends to help defend your base. Now if you just play by yourself, well, I would recommend turning off the raid events. Alright, so with that out of the way, let's load in here. Let's see here, start game. Alright, so here are some beginner tips for Power World on the PlayStation 5. Obviously, this works across all platforms, but if you've been on PC or the Xbox, I'm pretty sure you've checked this game out. But for us PlayStation players like myself, here are some beginner tips to get you started. Now, when you first start off, you'll start up pretty much up there, and it'll want you to make like a little base. And I feel like this is like the perfect spot for a starter base just to get going. Now, make sure you don't go a little crazy with making a giant wooden base here, because wood can catch on fire, just like in Minecraft, and the whole thing will just burn up. Like, I'll show the clip right now. So that is what can happen if you build a giant wooden base. Now, to get started, it pretty much has like a tutorial. It'll walk you through everything, but if you're a little confused on what exactly does what, let's just go through that right now. All right, so every pal that you capture, like in Pokemon, We'll go capture one here in a minute here. But the first thing you want to build, obviously, is this thing. Because this is pretty much the entire point of this game, is your pal box. Because this is how you have your pals build stuff for you, protect your base, and all that good stuff. So you'll want to build this right away. And then once you get that built, then you can start building your base around it, because that pretty much sets the perimeter of where your base is going to be. In order to make a bed usable, where you can sleep at night, you'll have to have some sort of roof. I kind of monkey rigged this one just to get a roof over it. I mean, you could literally build a 1 square room and just put the bed in there, and there you go. You can go to sleep. You're going to want to build at least a couple of chests right next to where the resources are, because as you can see, this little guy is putting them in there for you. Not only does it one at a time, but over time, that could really help out, especially when you get your base big enough to have tons of different pals. And then you notice they have different roles. This little guy is pretty much a resource gatherer, so he'll gather it and put it in there. This little cat dude, Cativa, he will break the rocks for you so that they can be collected and used as resources, and he'll just do that the whole time he's here. He's also a good starter, like, backup if you want like a little buddy to help you fight and capture stuff. And apparently you can pick him up too, which is what I was not trying to do. Alright. Oh, and that's another thing. I always forget about that. You can pick him up, throw him at what you want him to do, and that's what it'll do. So let this little guy, let's see, he's just walking around not doing anything, and you want him to work on this rock right here. Get to work. He's like, oh, he's all sad. So there you go. He'll go work on that. And then when you get hungry, you'll want to make sure you have this little food thingy for him. The feed box. Make sure you keep it full of food, otherwise they won't want to work and do anything. I just put berries in there, and it seems to cover the bases for the beginning parts of it. And some of the creatures you can, I believe actually all the creatures you can just feed automatically if you want to do that. But if you want them to be self-sustaining and take care of themselves, you can just do that. And then when you do build like a fire to cook, make sure it's very far away from your wooden base, or as you saw earlier, it will burn it to the ground, and you'll have to start pretty much over. So I want to go crazy with building a giant base until you unlock, I believe it's level 18, until you get the stone structures. Then you can go nuts and build giant elaborate bases. Until then, I would hold off, because as you saw, you could lose everything, because it'll burn up your treasure chests with all your items. Now, you don't lose the items, they're just out in the world, but then you got to rebuild everything to put them in, and it just becomes this giant nightmare. And yeah, you're basically starting from scratch. That wasn't fun when that happened. I believe that was the no, that was the Xbox version. I almost said PlayStation version, but yeah. Then you can see it's got a day and night cycle, so you're going to make sure you have a bed. And just like in Minecraft, if you're playing single player and you go to bed at night, they will it'll skip to the morning, which I love that feature. I really wish Ark had that feature in single player. And then you want to make sure, I don't know if I mentioned this yet, make sure all your pals that you have set to work, so I have 4, make sure they each have a bed, otherwise they'll get stressed out and they won't want to work. As you can see right there where it says upset, not willing to work or do any tasks, probably because I picked him up when he was on break and threw him at the thing, so he probably got mad at me. So yeah, keep that in mind. And when you do build this, I know I'm kind of spewing a lot of information here, but this is all the things I've gathered from what I remember from playing the Xbox version. I'm a PlayStation guy. I've been waiting for this to come to PlayStation for a long time. It sucks they're getting sued. I was really hopeful that this would become Sony's Pokemon, because they did that deal with them. And if Sony ever gets a handheld, we finally have a Pokemon alternative for Sony if they ever get a freaking handheld. Anyway, so wherever you build this and the perimeter, make sure that this stuff over here, you can see this blue line, it's kind of getting dark. This blue line, you want to make sure this blue line is on the outside of this stuff. So that way they can actually come out here and gather this for you. This will include resources like ore, rock, but to build any of the metal weapons or metal items or the saddles or the weapon harnesses, you're going to want this to be in here. When I first did this, I had the blue line. I put it way over there, and the blue line was all the way up here. So my pals wouldn't go over there because it was outside of the area, which really sucked. So now that I know that, I put it kind of like in the middle here, and you can, as you can see. Now, of course, I forgot to give myself clothing. So we're going to go to sleep, and I'm going to show you sleep mechanic here. Now, when I played this on the Xbox, and I mentioned this earlier before we started this whole thing, if you have the raids turned on, I got raided almost every single morning and every like 30 minutes when I was playing. I'm pretty sure they probably fixed that, but I didn't take a chance. I just turned it off because starting off is kind of frustrating getting everything going. All right, one of the major things I forgot to cover was how to capture a pal. It's super easy. It's just like Pokemon. You're going to make sure you have a club or something. If you don't have a Mon with you, or should I say a pal with you, Pokemon is going to be mentioned a lot. You just kind of go up to any of them, and on the PlayStation, it's the R1 button, and it's right next to the attack button. It'll give you the capture rate because you can see he has full health. So to cancel that, you press L2. Now let's damage him a little bit here. You don't want to damage him too much because then you'll kill it. Now it says 100%. And boom. Just like that. Super easy to capture. We'll capture another one here. These are the low level ones. And you can also kill them. I'll show you what happens when you kill one. He drops the resources. And he's not like dead, but he's knocked out. And unfortunately, you cannot capture him anymore. So he's gone. It's I shouldn't laugh, but it's so funny, the animations and stuff. So I'll capture this one. 65%. Let's give it a shot. And it does. This is what Pokemon is suing him over, by the way. Is the capturing mechanic with a sphere? Yeah, they kind of have a copyright. And what sucks about that is if they win, then pretty much every game that wants to use a sphere or some sort of capturing mechanic, they're going to be scared schmooless because, well, what's to stop Pokemon from coming after them? The only reason Pokemon came after this game is because it was such a huge success right out of the gate. Oh man, he keeps running away. Okay. And another cool thing I forgot to mention, we'll end the video on this, is you can climb on anything. Just like Breath of the Wild. So keep that in mind. That'll help you with traversal. Anyway, so that wraps it up. Again, thanks for watching, and stay frosty.